Hi there, I am Sarah Kolis. Welcome to the Dressing Up podcast, where we talk about all things bridal, dresses, and general dressing up topics. I love to encourage women to dress up while expressing their personal style with confidence on how to do so. Visit sarahkolis.com to book a bridal alterations fitting or even inquire about designing the custom couture bridal gown of your dreams. I'm so excited to talk to you about this next topic. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. You may have noticed I took a quick little break from podcasting because boy, have I been busy. So May 11th, 2024 was my sister's wedding date. So we've had a fabulous time with that. And there were so many things in my life and my business and my work that I just said, you know what, that's going to have to wait until after the wedding. That's going to have to wait until after the wedding. So May 11th was quite the deadline, if you could say, for the wedding stuff. And then after that, I had to catch up on a few other things, and podcasting, I just did not make as a priority. So I've gotten those things kind of started to settle, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about some of it today. As you may know, if you're following me on social media, I am working now out of the studio space, which has been a huge journey to get to this point. I have just completed day 5 of taking bridal appointments in there, and it has been incredible. It has been so much fun. I designed it in such a way that it would work great, obviously, for my business, and the brides have been loving it. Everyone comes in and says it's so cute, it's so feminine. Obviously, those are some inspirations for this space, as you know, because when else can you make such a space so feminine and girly? So it's been really cute. I've got the one fitting room in action right now that I've been using, but I will have a second fitting room. And I do have the wallpaper for that. I cannot use the fitting room unless it has hooks on the walls. We got to hang hooks on the wall. I don't want to do that. And then the next day I have to patch it up to be able to put the wallpaper on, because I'm hoping that we can do that soon. So I'm working out of the one fitting room right now. And then we've got the main space decorated a little bit. There's still a long way to go. And then we have the little bathroom space, which is so cute. So if you are coming to the studio and you have to use the restroom, you're going to see that little corner of the studio too, and it's really cute. So decorating wise, I've got a lot to do. I've got a lot of pictures I want to have framed, but I'm really trying to go for that vintagey, high quality look. So I'm not quite seeing picture frames I love in stores. And I do live across the street from a framing business. So I do want to do some of that, but obviously budget, I'm waiting a little bit. I had a set budget I was willing to work with, and I decided to put it all into the construction of the space, because I said furniture can come as it comes. So I do have a few things I've picked up at estate sales, and then some old furniture, like from my old, some old stuff at my parents' house, and then a lot of estate sale shopping, because I can get stuff for so cheap and the quality is better because things were just made better back then. So I'm buying, of course, all the stuff that isn't all worn down, but I have this one couch that is so cute. You've probably seen it already. The floral couch. It's kind of a funny story on that. I was at my friend's Valentine's Day party, and I was talking to her little sister who I grew up with, and we were talking about how she just bought a house and how it was so much fun. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so great. Like, where is it located? And one thing leads to another. And I'm like, wait, that's the house that I'm going to the estate sale to tomorrow. So I actually bought this couch from her house before she had occupancy. Oh, she was so funny. We don't have the same taste. And she sees that couch that I was showing her online. I'm like, see, this is what I'm going to go buy tomorrow at the estate sale. And she's like, oh, great. Get it out of there. So it wasn't her cup of tea, but it certainly was mine. So I'm so glad to have that couch. And my sister took photos on it on her wedding day. It's so cute. So I'm kind of going for that vibe, like the vintage floral look. Brass is everything. All the hardware is brass, almost everywhere. The light wood look, and then a lot of white walls, because as you can imagine, when you're wearing a white wedding dress, you don't want blue walls that cast a blue shadow onto your dress. So we're keeping a lot of it just light and airy and white so that the dress can pop nicely off of it. What else? I started moving my sewing stuff in, and I've been moving things in it's kind of mostly just me moving this stuff in there. So, it's my workout for the day. So I can only do so much. And I've been prioritizing the things that I actually need right away. So day one, I was just trying to get the brides over there because I said, let's just start doing the fittings over there because my current space, we don't have AC. So they were getting very hot and I felt so bad. So we made sure to get the brides over there as soon as possible so they could have the AC running in there. And of course, the first 4 days of the studio is cold and rainy every day. Go figure. So I wanted to prioritize getting them over there. I got the mirror over there. Thank you, Billy and Robbie, for moving that heavy, heavy mirror. It is going to stay right where it is. And then, of course, like all my other little fitting room furniture pieces. So I prioritized that. And of course, all of the little bathroom things that we need, the soap, the towels, everything. So that was just day one. I was just trying to get the brides over there. And then the next day I started moving all of the dresses over, the sewing stuff over. And again, like only doing little bits at a time, I prioritized and we got the sewing machine over there, the second sewing machine, the iron, and all the dresses. So we could just get started. And then I'm slowly moving all the other stuff over there as we go. I have a whole room in my house that has fabric just all in there. So I got to move all that fabric over. I need a place to put it. We need to think about storage solutions and things like that. So if you're coming for a dress fitting, I do have a cute little coffee bar at the studio. So right when you walk in, I don't have it yet, but I'm going to have some hooks on the wall so you can just set your dress down right away, right when you walk in. And then when you walk in to your left, there will be a little coffee bar. So help yourself. I can definitely grab something for you, but you're more than welcome to go up there and take anything you want. There's a little refrigerator, so you can get that, glasses and water spout I had put in. So that's good drinking water. And then the coffee machine, coffee mugs, all those things. So help yourself at any point, or anyone else that's coming with you is welcome to all of that as well. And then we'll get you into the fitting room and we'll get you dressed and start the appointment. So that's kind of like just the quick flow of the studio, and you're more than welcome to, use the bathroom space or whatever else you need. Just let me know. So now that I've quote unquote had the keys to the space for the past 5 days, I still have so much to do decorating wise. This is kind of the beginning of when my work starts, of when I can start getting everything how I've always envisioned it to be. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. I need some time. I've got a lot of other things going on in life and business right now. And of course, we're starting in a semi-busy season. My busiest season is fall, by the way. But right now, we're still very busy with the spring and summer weddings coming up. So what I have decided to do is to push our grand opening party to being in August, because I didn't want to do it too soon for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't want to have to start planning it before my sister's wedding. That was one of those things that's like push it until after the wedding and then start planning it. So I got to really get started on that soon. And then also because I wanted the place to be decorated. And I'm sure it's not even going to be done by August, but I'm going to at least have it well moved on from where it is right now. So I am inviting a lot of people to that party. So if you're interested, I am not going to blast it all over my social media because I don't want to invite the entire world that's watching my social media. I want it to be people that actually know me and I know them. So if you are interested in coming to that grand opening party and seeing the studio space, maybe you're already married and you don't plan on getting wedding dress alterations done someday, or you just really want to see the space, I would love to have you there. What you need to do is hop on my website and scroll down until where I believe it's on the bottom. It's like an orangish box, and put in your email address. So I will be sending all the information for the grand opening party through my email list. So I'm going to send all the information that way. And I believe what we're going to do is start off with a sort of survey just so I can gather more information from who's exactly being invited. And then a little bit later, send out the formal invitation, all of the dates and times and things like that. So if you're interested in coming, I would love to have you there. I just need you to be on my email list so I can tell you about it. And then if you're not sure if you're not on my email list already or not, you can just go ahead and punch it back in. And if it's a duplicate, it'll just void it. But you can just go ahead and do that so that you can make sure. I've been working with a lot of brides lately, and they've just all been so fabulous and so fun. I just love what I do. And now that I get to be in the studio space, I just get to offer an even better level of service for you. So thank you so much. If you've gotten your wedding dress alterations done by me, or you plan to, I'm so excited. For those of you that haven't yet, I want to talk again about the Boombas brand, which is those sticky cups that are super sticky on both sides. You've probably seen it on my Instagram or just ads for it. They're really great. They don't work on every single dress. So if you have a looser fit dress, or basically anything that's not very corseted structured, not very corset structured, something like that. Just not super, super tight. It's not going to work great. It works really, really good on those dresses that are tight. And then use my coupon code Sarah Kolis 10, SARAH KOLIS 10 for 10% off. Make sure to bring your shoes to your fitting. You can bring people with you. As of right now, I don't have a limit on how many people you can bring. So feel free, and we can kind of make it a little party. It'll be fun. And then try really hard to be on time to your appointments. I'm in Northville, Michigan, right on the border of Novi. And Novi especially has just gotten so much traffic. And there's a lot of construction going on the highway right now. So just try your best to be on time so I can allow you to use the full appointment time slot, of course. And then when you turn in, just make sure you look for the green plastic mailbox, because all of the driveways on the street, they all look so similar, and it's a 45-mile-an-hour road. So just make sure you look for the green plastic mailbox. Now, if you're watching this or listening to this in a few months from when I'm recording it, I am planning on switching to a white mailbox. So maybe you'll be able to see it a little bit better. So just look for that. All the instructions are in your email. You're going to get an email when you book the appointment, and it's going to give you all of that information. Okay. So it'll say what my mailbox looks like. It'll say, it'll give a picture of what the driveway looks like. So it's just super important to read those instructions so you know where you're going when you're coming. I do have other neighbors on the street, and it has gotten to be a little bit, I'm sure, annoying for them to have people driving up their long driveways all the time. So just try really hard to pick out the right one. And then you'll meet me up at my studio. There is parking right next to the studio, so you can drive all the way up and park right next to that door. And there should be an allowance for at least 3 cars to be across there. But if there is not a space, there is a little parking lot down the hill a little bit. So you'll see that when you drive in. Yeah. And then with the studio being opened, I am so thankful for it. I've worked really hard to be able to have this space for you guys. I do have to thank my husband, Billy. He's been helping so much. I absolutely cannot thank him enough for putting up with all these crazy ideas and all this work that he didn't sign up for, but is helping me with. And he's always the hidden hero behind all of this. So I thank him so much. And then, of course, my dad, Don Kolis, he was my electrician on the project, electrician/miscellaneous. What do I need help with? He's been working so hard to get all the electrical settled, along with some of his other helpers and workers and friends. So that's been great. He's got the lighting down to a T. You're going to come in. I've already had so many brides and moms comment on how beautiful the lighting is. So he nailed it. And I can't thank him enough for all of his hard work. And of course, my mom has been behind the scenes doing various projects too, to help with the wedding, helping me help Melissa with the wedding, helping my dad help me with the studio. So Cynthia Kolis, thank you so much, my mom. I appreciate all of you, and couldn't have done it without this family I have, these great people behind me. So thank you all so much. I would really love to do a podcast episode with my mom soon, because she has been my second voice when it comes to designing the studio. I've had quite the vision for what I've wanted, but if I'm ever wavering and not sure about something, I 100% will go to her. If it's something design wise, of course, if it's something construction related, we go to my dad. But my mom has been just great at all of that. She also was quite a bit of a voice behind my sister's wedding dress too. My mom does not sew, before you ask. I get that question all the time. Did I learn from my mom? No, I didn't, but she is very crafty and very artistic. So she has that creative brain that her and I can just talk the lingo and just work really, really well together to figure out anything that's visual and creative. We're really awesome together. So I would love, once we get everything decorated a little bit more, and I actually have Wi-Fi in the studio and can actually record a podcast over there, I'd love to get her in and we can kind of chat through all the little details, and I'd love to tell you more about it. But this was just a little taste of what's been going on. It's been so great. So what else? I'm sure. So you know what? I've been trying to get my sister over here since her wedding. I've only seen her one time, which is a little unusual. I think maybe she's sick of me. I'm not sure. We saw each other a lot before the wedding, just planning it and everything. So I'd love to get her over here and her husband, Cam, to talk about the wedding more. But I'm going to debrief just a quick little bit because I know you're all dying to know. So let's just chit chat about it. So I've had all my brides asking me, of course, like they walk in, they're like, oh my God, the studio. Oh my God, how was your sister's wedding? How's everything going? So I talk about the wedding a little bit. And the first thing I want to say is it just was incredible. It was so much fun. She was so happy. He was so happy. They were just beaming ear to ear all day long. I mean, it was just a gorgeous wedding. It was so fabulous. Just some key moments for me, like seeing her in my studio with my parents. They were opening gifts and she just looked so cute. The dress all spread out across. They were sitting. It was adorable. I love those precious, small, quiet moments before the rush of everything. And then when they came down the staircase at their venue, being welcomed into the reception space as the new Mr. and Mrs. Just walking down that staircase just gave me chills. It was so sweet. The two of them just so happy, just living it up, having their moment. It was so special. We had some awesome speeches. Angela, yours was great too, but especially my dad's was awesome. The really awesome father of the bride speech. It was really funny. It was really cute. So I'd love to talk to him more about that. And then another special moment, of course, the first dance was adorable. They learned some dance moves. They went and took a dance class. So they had a few moves, but it wasn't a full-blown choreographed routine type of thing. But they just looked so good. And seeing the dress bustled up and that gorgeous French bustle and twirling around and twisting and spinning and dipping and all the things. I just liked watching that dress move, but also my sister having that special moment for her. So it was really awesome. Everything was really great. But it's funny. It's like my first initial reaction is how awesome the wedding was. But like every wedding, there were things that went wrong, but I totally forget about them when you first ask me about it. It's so funny how that works. My wedding, your wedding, everyone else's wedding, there are things that go wrong. Not everything is going to run smoothly, no matter how much money you spend on the wedding, no matter how many vendors you have, no matter how few bridesmaids. I mean, things are going to go wrong. This is just a thing. I mean, there's so many moving parts, so many elements to this day. There's just no way everything's going to run perfectly smoothly. So I'm going to share a couple of those with you today because I'm sure that's something my sister isn't going to want to dwell on when I chit chat with her about it. But also I have a point and I'll kind of tell you about it after. So there were, I would say three. There were three pretty big things that went wrong. So one, not shaming the church or the priest or anything, but the priest was running behind. So he was 45 minutes late to the ceremony. So he was walking in the door 45 minutes past when the ceremony was supposed to have started because he was coming from Lansing and he got stuck in traffic. Again, that Novi traffic, it's awful. So that happened. And you want to know what? There's nothing you can do about it. We heard he was going to be late and we just said, okay, cool. We have a few extra minutes, so I'll just chill. And then, time kept on ticking and you just say, you can't do anything about it. And so we just kind of embraced the little bit of extra sister time we had together and just chatting with her and, not talking about it because we don't want to dwell on it. But you know what? With some things on the wedding day, you can just skip to the next thing, or maybe you just skip that little part. You can't skip the ceremony. You can't skip having a priest. You can't have someone else step in. So we just had to wait. And it was fine. It was fine. We were all ready to go. So when the priest walked in, we got started. And I don't want to say that he sped through the ceremony, but he didn't take his time. We just kept on moving and it was great. So the ceremony was just a little bit shorter than what I think it would have naturally normally have been. And then we came around and they signed their marriage license. That was great. And then we were all ready, lined up on the staircase, the whole bridal party. We all just got, while they were signing their marriage license, we got all the bridesmaids up there, the groomsmen up there, and we all just were waiting, ready to go for family photos. And so when they were done signing their marriage license, they just came on up, stood on the altar and click, click, click. We started doing photos. And then we got the next people in and the next people in, all those family photos at the altar. And we just flew through it as quickly as we possibly could. We had to make up for lost time. So we just seriously flew through family photos as fast as we possibly could. And then got out there. And I think normally there would have been a little bit more pause time, but we just went straight into what we did for my wedding, same church. We had a little white convertible car. had the guests line up on either side at the exit of the church. And so they ran through that and went and got onto into the car there and then did their little drive off. It's kind of funny. As she was walking, okay, I'm going to say from my wedding first. So again, my wedding was at this church and we did the same little send-off thing in the white convertible. And as you're walking out of this church, there is this, a lot of businesses have it, this like black, thick sandpaper that is on the tile on the floor there so that you're not slipping when you're walking in with wet shoes. And my veil got caught on it and it whipped my head back. So I got like this whiplash so my veil wouldn't fall out. And I had to grab my veil off of the sandpaper and then just kind of keep on moving. And it was funny because this exact same thing happened to her, which is something I forgot about on my wedding day. But when I saw it happen to her, I'm like, oh, yep, that happened with me too, that exact same spot. So her veil actually fell off. Okay, so they did their send off in this white convertible. It was so cute. Second big thing that happened that day, it was raining and it was kind of raining almost all day long, like the sprinkle that was just kind of came and went. So it was raining a little bit when they got into the car, but it's okay. We're all just moving. We're making this happen. We're not going to skip it. Let's go. It was just barely sprinkling. So they did that and they drove around the parking lot in the car, of course, just so we could have that fun moment, and then got back. And then we hopped on the party bus there. Okay. So we hopped onto the party bus and then we were driving away and my sister Angela and I are looking at each other and we're like, okay, let's look at this timeline. Like, how are we doing? And then we're looking at the timeline. We're looking at each other and we're like, is this right? Because all of a sudden we were back on schedule. We were back on schedule. Can you believe it? After 45 minutes of the priest being late, we were back on schedule by the time we got on the party bus. Like, how great is that? So that was awesome. So that happened, the rain. And then the third thing was there was a big gap. The venue, unfortunately, they were very slow with the food. I've heard from other people that this is actually a common thing, even though they approved our timeline, but the food was so slow. So it was great. We had a little soup and then a little salad. And then it was almost an hour. It was maybe 50 minutes by the time we got our entrees. So there was this weird lull that we hadn't planned for. So things like that can happen. Again, what can you do? So we just chit-chatted with each other a little bit longer. And I got to say hi to a few more people that I might not have otherwise. So that was kind of good. So the food was coming out late. And my biggest concern was the fact that we had the photographer and the videographer until 9 o'clock. So, you have your 8-hour window or whatever it was that we had, and they were supposed to leave at 9, but we weren't doing first dances until 9 because the food was so late. So that was my biggest stressor, that I'm like, if they need to get going, they need to get going. It's not their fault that the food is running late. So that was the biggest problem. Other than that, it wasn't a problem. It was fine. But of course, Penny is incredible, and Gabe, I mean, they all stuck around. It was so nice. They did not need to. Vendors are not obligated to do that by contract. They could leave at 9, but they're just incredible people and so kind for waiting around to be able to capture all those first dance photos and some of the dancing photos. So I'm so thankful for that. But those 3 things going wrong at the end of the day, it was fine. Everything was fine. And that's my point here, is that things will go wrong. It's so easy to freak out when the priest is running 45 minutes late. It is so easy to get upset about that. It's so easy to get upset that that cocktail hour now couldn't be outside. It had to be inside. But at the end of the day, everything's going to happen. You hire awesome vendors and they're going to take care of you and everything's going to be okay. And that's what I love, is that these 3 big things went wrong. But at the end of the day, I am so happy with how the wedding went. And I'm not sure I would change much. It was just fabulous. So I hope my point is getting across, that I'm just so thankful for how the wedding day went, despite things going wrong, because again, things will go wrong. If you're listening to me and you're about to get married and you're like, no, my wedding is planned out to a T, I promise you something will be a little bit off, and that's okay. And that's part of the wedding story. That's part about what you can laugh about later. So I just enjoyed every single moment of that day. It was just so much fun. I have a couple tips if you're interested. I had a whole list of tips after my wedding that I wrote down. I got married and I'm like, okay, here's some things I would have done different. Here's some things we can prepare for the next wedding. So I have a few that I've written down about Melissa's wedding. So as you probably know, I was helping my sister greatly with the wedding planning process. And it was kind of funny because at the reception, Melissa said they saw the reception space together as husband and wife. And it was kind of funny how Cam pretty much didn't know what anything was going to look like. He knew there was going to be pink involved, but that was pretty much it. So it was mostly me and Melissa doing that kind of stuff. So it was really easy for me to put tasks on myself to try to take on a lot of things. But I think one of my tips would be to delegate. So who's ever doing a lot of the wedding planning or kind of helping run the show a little bit on the wedding day, whether it be the maid of honor or just a friend that just naturally has like some leadership skills and is helping to coordinate things, or your coordinator themselves, I would just say delegating things more to the bridesmaids, to the groomsmen, to the parents, perhaps, to friends, just delegating as much as possible. One, I've always told my brides is sometimes you don't put the veil on until you get to the ceremony space. So if you're like getting married in a church and you're going off site for the ceremony, sometimes you won't put your veil in until you get there. So having a designated bridesmaid carry that veil from one place to another. And maybe it's not the bridesmaid that's already taken on so much of the work, AKA myself, maybe having someone else, like one of your other bridesmaids that maybe hasn't been as much involved in all the wedding planning and everything, and they can handle that one little task and make sure it gets done. Because for me, there was a lot of things that I needed to transport from the studio to the wedding, and then from the wedding to the reception space. So there was a lot of things I was transporting. And there was one thing I had forgotten because, I'll explain why. We gifted my sister these beautiful earrings, these little diamond earrings that my other sisters and I all split the cost on Black Friday. It was great. So we got her these adorable little earrings, and she opened them up right before we were about to leave to the church. And as she was opening up the earrings, she realized, hey, maybe I should wear these little diamond earrings in my second piercing. I don't have anything in there right now. But we were kind of running behind, and they're those diamond earrings that have the twist back. So they kind of take a moment, and we were kind of running behind a little bit. Had we known the priest was going to be late, we would have taken more of our time. But anyway, so we were kind of pushed for time. So we said, okay, how about we actually bring these earrings with us to the church, and then we'll put them on there. Sounded like a great plan, but I wasn't prepared for that ahead of time. And I thought, okay, yeah, I'll take them. But one thing leads to another. You're going around crazy. You're getting the bride into the vehicle. Which car am I going on? I don't want to forget my backpack. I don't want to forget this. I don't want to forget that. I got to tell this person to do that. The earrings got forgotten about. So they were forgotten about. So I think that's something that I could have handed off to somebody else that didn't have as many tasks, not because it necessarily took stuff off my plate for the enjoyment of it, but so that it wouldn't actually get forgotten about like I did. So sorry, Melissa, we forgot him. Second thing, don't let family do cleanup. That was a rule I had at my wedding and my sister's as well. We had coordinators, and then I had my assistant that was there, and she helped do a lot of the cleanup. I think it's easy to sign your parents up like, oh yeah, they'll take the candles off the tables. Oh yeah, they'll take the extra favors and the extra this and the extra that. They'll do it. Don't worry, they'll do it. Don't have them do that. It's a really special day for the whole family, not just the bride and groom. Everyone's celebrating. Everyone's having a good time. The last thing they're going to want to do is clean up at the end. So have that taken care of. I highly recommend it. Another thing, we had brunch the next morning. That was great. It was so much fun. We got to all debrief about the wedding. Everything was great. And the venue and the hotel were connected. So this should have been coordinated, I think, by the venue and or the hotel. But the hotel checkout time and the brunch ending time were the same time, which was kind of annoying because brunch was from 9 to 11, and then checkout was at 11 o'clock. So everyone was leaving brunch early to go check out of their hotel room. So that was just like a small detail. It really doesn't matter, but just maybe check on that to see if they're the same time, to maybe bring brunch a little bit earlier. Maybe we should have done 8:30 to 10:30 so that everyone could go check out after that. So it was just a small detail. And then one last thing, announce when the bar is closing. So everyone was very surprised that all of a sudden the bar was closed. So just having the MC of the band or the DJ just announce that the bar will be closing in a half hour, the bar will be closing in 10 minutes. Small little things there, but that's kind of some of my takeaways. So I'm going to debrief more with Melissa and Cam when we see them. And I'm also hoping to do a Father of the Bride episode. So that'll be kind of fun. Anyway. Oh, you know what else I wanted to tell you guys is the YouTube video. So if you're not already following me on social media, or if you just want to check it out, go to my YouTube page. There's probably by the time we post this, there'll be 2 little videos about the wedding dress photo shoot and then the wedding itself. You may have noticed we did a pre-wedding photo shoot with Melissa to take photos of her wedding dress before the actual wedding day. I did that myself when I got married almost 5 years ago now. Our anniversary is coming up. And then, that's a thing that brides do very rarely, but I think it's more normal down south. But if you're interested in doing a bridal portrait session, I highly recommend doing it a week or two before your wedding so that it doesn't throw off your wedding dress alterations timeline. Okay. I've had brides that have come in and said that they were going to do their wedding dress photo shoot 2 months before the wedding. And I'm like, well, that's when I'm supposed to be starting alterations. Your alterations are not going to be done by then. And I'm going to have your dress. So how are you going to do that? So photographers keep that in mind too. A week or two before the wedding would be great because it would be after alterations are done and she'll naturally already have her dress. So that would be great. Or do it well before alterations, but then the dress doesn't fit right. So if it's like a really close fit, you could do it, but for most people it's not. So that's what I would recommend. That photo shoot was great. It was the first day we ever used the studio. So what happened was we had it 98% completed. And then we got all of the working equipment and tools out of there, cleaned up real quick, did the photo shoot, and then the workers got back to work after that. Just because we wanted to get in there for the photo shoot. I have done photo shoots before where I go off-site, go on location somewhere. And for me, it is very stressful and a lot of work because I bring the mannequin and the sewing supplies in case something happens, and the dress sketches and the markers that go with it, and the extra deodorant, the extra hair supplies, my makeup, the outfits, my setting up outfit, and then my actual outfit. And it's like, it's so much coordinating and like heavy lifting and things. So we had all the space we needed in the studio. It was done enough, so we made it happen. And it was so gorgeous. It worked out perfectly. We had all the same vendors that she was going to have on her wedding day, which usually I will mix it up, but Melissa felt really comfortable with these people. So we just went ahead and did them. And it was so great. No regrets. It was just awesome. It was kind of funny that when I started the studio project back in kind of November, but we actually like broke ground in December, Melissa was like, oh, this will be perfect because then, I'll get ready in there on the day of my wedding. And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, that sounds like a tight timeline, but it was close enough to where we could push it and make it happen for her. So that was a big push as well as the AC issue to get the studio done and have her wedding dress photo shoot there, and then also her getting ready on the wedding day. If you're a photographer listening, if you are interested in using the space for a bridal portrait session, let me know. I might be interested in kind of like renting the space out to be able to be used in that way, or I don't know, engagement sessions or whatever you come up with. I'm open to it. So I made the space on the inside big enough that we're able to put the white paper down. I mean, this was all thought out before we broke ground on this project to make sure that I had enough space to be able to do a photo shoot. And we proved it to be true. So that was great. Anyway, that's my rambling. That's what I've been up to lately. So yeah, we have our 5-year anniversary coming up. I'm excited to celebrate that. What else is going on? Oh, a whole lot of everything. I've got some other weddings coming up this year, some friends getting married. I'm doing the alterations, some custom veils. It'll be fun. So stay tuned. But I'm hoping our next episode we'll get more of my people on to talk about the wedding a little bit deeper and get some other guests on here and speakers. And so anyway, stay tuned. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode has allowed you to approach the world with greater confidence in your own personal style. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out through email or the inquiry form on the website. I hope you are all ready to go and get dressed up. I look forward to sharing more dressing up tips with you in future episodes. Thanks so much.